The weird world of gaming always gets weirder, always. And every month, gameranx chronicles it for you right here. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the weirdest gaming stories of October 2019. Coming in at number 10, this absolutely wild arcade in Japan is unfortunately closing. The arcade basically looks like a place you might get murdered in, and it's meant to basically be kind of a cyberpunk dystopian take on a place called Kowloon Walled City, which was a tenement in Hong Kong that was ended in 1994, possibly because it looked awful. But they embellished all of the awfulness and made it into this absolutely just amazingly cool place that is unfortunately closing forever. I mean, it sucks a lot that this is happening, if you ask me. This arcade is basically one big work of art, and you don't see that very much with business. Unfortunately, it's just not a sustainable business for them, as it's a very large space, and arcade games cost even less to play in Japan than they do here. Which sucks because even though most of us don't really have the opportunity to go see something like that, we know that maybe someday, but it's not that case anymore. Moving on to number 9, a game by Paradox, who by the way has published tons of great games over the years. The game we want to talk about today is called Stellaris though, and it's a 4X game, people like it, and they wanted to release it for mobile. Not an abnormal strategy. Nothing weird so far, right? Well, hey, guess what? Some art inside the game is actually literally just directly stolen from a 343 artist by the name of Kenny Magnuson, which was just literally concept art for Halo 4. Now, the artist did modify it. They removed a spaceship, added some crates, some windows, and seemed to have done that autofill that they have in some imaging software now in a few places, and it looks really weird. And the game had to be pulled from mobile stores immediately, of course. Paradox did not want to get sued. And it's not because they deliberately were we're going to steal art from Halo, haha. It's because some artist was probably lazy, honestly. Just as a warning to any video game artist out there, you're probably going to lose your job if you do something like this, and people are going to be pissed at you. Understand this. Somebody will remember the thing you stole from somewhere from the original place. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what it is. I don't really care from a moral perspective. It can get you in trouble. It can get your boss in trouble. It can get your company in trouble. And all of those people have power over individual developers of every kind. Moving on to number 8, some PlayStation fan got their ceiling remodeled to have the PlayStation circle, triangle, X, and square as inlets with LED lights being put in. And wow, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's very cool. But I also have this sneaking suspicion it cost a lot of money. The ceiling is not a cheap material in the room. Looking at it, it looks like some kind of stone. It may not be, but it looks like it. Looks like a stone tile ceiling in the photo that was uploaded, and to do this with a custom stone tile design would be, well, a rich person's prospect, let's just say. That's not to say it's not awesome, but I couldn't do this. At least if it is as detailed and using the materials that it seems like it is to me. So congratulations to this person. I mean, it's really cool what you did, you rich bastard. Moving on to number 7, Fallout First happened, and well, we talked about it elsewhere. But you know what Bethesda forgot to do when they launched? Register falloutfirst.com, which, what is wrong with them? Are they the laziest company that's ever existed, or what? I don't get it. So anyway, some guy registered it and made a website that's basically just taking a huge dump on Fallout First, rightfully so. It deserves all of the dumps. It deserves more dumps than a truck. Sorry, I had to make that joke. Speaking of dumps, did you know that Fallout First is itself basically a dump? The private servers, for instance, aren't private. People are logging onto them and finding that areas of them have already been raided. Cool stuff, right? And the unlimited scrap box, you know, the thing where you were gonna dump all of your stuff? Well, it dumped all of your stuff when you dumped your stuff into it. You could put a bunch of stuff in it, and it would just delete it. It would be gone forever. Did they test nothing at all? It seems like there's no way they could have. Bethesda just repeatedly shocks me. I don't get it. How? Moving on to number 6, someone bought a Nintendo Switch Lite with 2 Y buttons. Now, this isn't outwardly wild in any way. I'm not pretending that this is going to light the world on fire or anything like that. In fact, it's innocuous enough that you might ask yourself, why did Falcon talk about this? Oh, I will show myself out. I'm sorry about that. Now, obviously, this doesn't affect how you play games. I mean, it might be a little bit confusing sometimes, but I think we all know that the B button is where the second Y button should be. So when you press that Y, you're actually pressing B. Though I will say from time to time, I do get disoriented and have to look. But somewhere out there, there's a Nintendo Switch with 2 B buttons. Coming in at number 5, a winner of a Hearthstone tournament received his trophy as well as about $95,000 in prize money and had to be feeling pretty good about himself. But as he lifted up his Hearthstone trophy presented to him by Blizzard themselves, it just flat out fell apart. Just fell apart like a cheap toy. He also could not keep his composure. It made him laugh. Of course, it made him laugh. It would make anyone laugh. In his mind, he's celebrating and just made himself look very silly. But Blizzard was kind enough to come out and say, actually, the trophy's in 2 pieces. It's supposed to do that. Well, it's not supposed to do that specifically, but you're supposed to be able to take the second piece off of the first piece. It just so happens that the way he moved caused it to come off. I mean, you generally don't move with the trophy. You generally put it on a shelf. It's still a really funny moment. But a big congratulations to Eddie Lew for winning that. Coming in at number 4, Epic, the creators of Fortnite, got embroiled in a couple of lawsuits, one by a couple of parents of some 15 and 10-year-old children who believe that Fortnite is like cocaine in that it releases the chemical dopamine into the brain and addicts children to it, which, maybe not necessarily true. It's certainly addictive. Yes, that's not untrue. But I kind of think it's impossible for a video game to specifically be chemically addicting. Call me crazy. You might have trouble with that one, guys. It probably would have been a better move to sue them over just the time lost and behavioral addiction that can happen, if that's what you were going to sue over. My prediction is that one won't pan out. They're basically alleging that the game is chemically addicting, and I don't see that working out. But the second lawsuit is actually one that Epic themselves are doing. They're suing the leaker who leaked Chapter 2, as if that changed anything at all. The gentleman who leaked was a Fortnite user experience tester, and I'm sure he had an agreement which sets a precedent, but I'm gonna go ahead and say, This is one they might be able to win because of the agreement that they have with testers, and they're also a company with basically unlimited resources. But let's just be completely honest. Leaks don't ruin a game like Fortnite. No one cares. They're not playing Fortnite for story reasons or suspense that has been built. In fact, I think a lot of people actually view that as a hindrance. Coming in at number 3, somebody spent $220,000 in microtransactions on Transformers. Specifically Transformers Earth Wars, which, by the way, isn't a bad game. Well, let's just go ahead and say, what? Back in September, a player spent $90,000 in RuneScape, which, in my opinion, kind of amazing. Obviously, it's RuneScape. What? $220,000 in Transformers. I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't blame whatever person spends that kind of money. Obviously, they have that kind of money and they're free to choose what to do with it. But there's something very wrong with a game that accepts that kind of money from a single person. And no, I'm not saying the game isn't doing its job either. Obviously, they make these games to make money. So technically, it is doing its job. It's just that it kind of seems like that shouldn't exist. And I cannot imagine how awkward that feels to find out as a developer, not as a publisher, but as a developer, that the thing you made managed to extract $220,000 out of an individual person. And it's wrong that games do this. And at number 2, much less outraging, and much more just purely weird, Hideo Kojima posted a video of Conan O'Brien in Death Stranding as a guy who gives you an otter hat. Yeah, that seems to be his primary function in the game, that and to say weird things as he gives you the otter hat. But I'm there. I am absolutely there. His character is called the Wandering MC, but he does say some pretty funny lines. He better. I mean, I don't know why else he would be there. But it's very strange that Hideo Kojima saw it necessary to, promote the game with this. And finally, at number 1, in EVE Online, players blockaded all of the mission-giving NPCs so they could make the game purely about a very large war. This is actually how war kind of works in real life. They just make it impossible for you to do the things that you're trying to do, and then you have to pledge fealty to a side and go into battle. Listen, depriving everybody of ways to make money so that you can force them into a war is a good way to get the war going, sure, but you're gonna need to get out of the way and let people do that stuff. Otherwise, the war is literally going to be about the fact that you're doing this. People play this damn game for more than one reason. So hey, new players, enjoy the game. Couple of quick bonuses for you. We missed this last month, but we really wanted to bring it up. A monkey was sitting on the shoulders of a Sea of Thieves developer and, well, just couldn't keep his composure and vomited all over him. The point of the stream that they were on was to promote the purchasable pets, which include monkeys, and either the monkey took offense to that or ate some bad mealworms. And finally, somebody put the goose from Untitled Goose Game into the Resident Evil 2 remake as Mr. X, and it's very enjoyable. I don't have a lot to say about it other than play the Goose Game. That's it for this month. Leave us a comment, let us know what you're thinking. If you like this video, please click the button labeled like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.